Check, check. All right, I guess we're on. So starting off, see a downtrend here, downtrend break, new low, clearly 2 legs up. Clearly there, short-term downtrend, double bottom. And now we have some kind of uptrend working up. Let's see. Something like that, possibly. It fits well off the highs, 1, 2, 3 touches, and 1, 2 on the low side. We have uptrend break, 2 legs up. And we're trading back to the EMA, so there could be a potential setup here. Looks like we have a sort of choppy downtrend coming down. So I wouldn't want to take it right off the EMA here because I want to see prices come back and test this uptrend line, or at least prove to me that they're not going to test it. Got a protein shake that I'm drinking. I'll only be able to trade until probably about 11 o'clock. I hope that wasn't too loud. I'll sneeze. Yeah, I'll only be able to trade until 11 o'clock. I've got to go do some stuff for my business. Looks like we're getting some congestion. Clearly some congestion. Lots of stacked dojis. So maybe if we got like a failed break below this congestive area that touched off this trend line, that could be a good setup. This one, I think technically, it's not quite touching the EMA. It's pretty dang close though. Well, let's just see what happens. I want to go ahead and mark up the overnight highs as well, just in case those come into play. Need to get a better mic, so what I'm doing off on my other screen right now is I'm going to check Facebook Marketplace real quick while the market hasn't opened yet to see if there's anything. There are some decent microphones on Facebook. A little Yeti microphone for $50. It's not too bad. It's kind of what I was looking for. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and message that guy. I mean, that looks like it could be a good mic. How long has it been up? A week ago. Not bad. got a webcam too. Okay, back to the chart. So, looks like we turned up a little bit early. I wouldn't have been interested in this trade anyway. It's too congestive. Uncertain if this has a break and a new low. Maybe a break and a double bottom. How about... It's pretty much impossible to get this to fit there. So I'm just going to keep playing it where it is. Looks like I forgot to turn the chat off. But whatever. Chances are nobody will be in here, and chances are nobody will say anything. I'm setting my, whatever it's called, put my phone in a timed lockbox, so setting that up so that way it's not a distraction. I said this on yesterday's too, but I usually will put a plugin on Google Chrome that keeps me from checking out any web pages, but I guess with this stream up, can't really have that on. But the fact that this is on is probably going to keep me from scrolling around on YouTube or whatever else. So just continuing to move higher, nothing for me to do here, but I would be interested in a setup if we start to pull back. Going to be watching what prices do up at these overnight highs, assuming they reach it. Whoops. Looking to see if there's some other trend going on, but I don't really see anything. There could be a possible spike in channel, but that's not proven yet. feel like this is a lot of movement for recently. Recently, the market's been pretty slow, but this looks like quote unquote normal. Although I don't think there is a true normal. Okay, so we're getting a pullback. I see one leg back right now, so I'm not interested. Maybe we'll get 2 legs back to the trend line in the EMA. That would be the perfect setup that I'm looking for here. And I'm trading a 25K Apex evaluation. Right now, I've taken 1 loss in it. I took it before I started doing the stream yesterday, so I actually took the loss 2 days ago. It's kind of a dumb loss. I mean, it wasn't like dumb, but just trading against the trend. Potential for a triple test off the EMA and trend line. Prices look like they're in some kind of micro range. Prices are failing to come back to this main trend line. I'm going to go ahead and put in an order just submitted. In case. Looks like there might be something here. Nope, not yet, at least. It looks like we might have broken this trend line. It's possible that it's a little bit wider though. So let's see how it reacts. Not seeing enough momentum there. That's pretty much a doji bar. Even though it technically fits the criteria, it's not what I'm looking for. It might work out, but that is what it is. And then this one didn't tick lower, so it's not a candidate trade for me. If this signal bar had ticked lower than the previous bar and then turned up, maybe I'd be interested, but it didn't, so you just have to, or at least I just have to watch it go by. Maybe that's a rule that I'll do away with later, but it's one that I'm following now. So it looks like this smaller tight range is correct. We might get a setup here. It's kind of a higher low, but I wouldn't want to push this resistance up here, especially with the bar ending right there. I mean, you know, if the bar ended right here, you're pushing right into it. So it's unfortunate. Gonna have to wait for a breakout. Maybe you'll get some kind of higher low, but we're getting kind of close to these overnight highs. So chances are I won't get a setup here, but that's all right. So there we go. But like I said, not willing to push through this resistance, even though you're coming off of a confirmed trend line. It's just not a good bet, in my opinion. That's something that sometimes Mac will mark, and it confuses me how he'll know. They're doing the trash outside. So let's see. For 1-to-1, I believe you'd have gotten out of this. Yep, looks like you just would have gotten out of it. It's looking like the stream is really behind right now. I'm trying to look at what time it has on there. Can't quite tell. But it's quite behind. So I'll have to check into that. I don't think it was this far behind yesterday. I wonder if it's something in the settings. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to check that out later. Maybe it's not behind, actually. No, it's not. So for some reason, I know this doesn't really matter to anybody, but the you can see the stream here, and I had this back like there. Anyway, back to this. So we touched off of these overnight highs, so I want to see what's going to happen here. I want to see if this uptrend is going to hold and we're going to continue higher, or if this is going to turn into basically a daily, or at least a range, large range. We have a short-term uptrend that's going to need a break and new high. A little bit of congestion. Looks like we're moving to the break and new high right now. You had a double top. Okay, break a new high completed. That was a lot of momentum right there. Looks like prices are sort of rejecting off of this midline. I was pretty sure the trend was correct before then anyway, because you've got 1, 2, 3, basically 4 touches right here and 3 touches on the opposite side. But this midline action right here sort of confirms it for me even more. So I would consider a setup if we came off of this trend line again, but I would have to see a completed correction. So I'm not going to take like a subpar setup there, because you might fade the overnight highs, so we might move down after breaking above them, and the short-term uptrend is already played out. You're failing to reach the opposite side, assuming you come back to the trend line now. So I'd have to see pretty much like a full two-legged correction down. I don't know if there's room for that, if that'll happen, but that's kind of what I'm thinking here. So it looks like there's a little congestive area right here that has a breakout and a pullback. Prices are attempting to hold that as support now. So if this second entry forms here, I'm not going to take it. As I said earlier, you're failing to reach the opposite side of the trend line, so that's showing that prices could potentially be weak. You just broke out of the overnight highs, so I'm expecting prices to maybe fade back inside. What else? Oh, this uptrend is already played out. Either way, doesn't form. We push through the EMA. So now, let's see, are we going to come and test this overnight high, or are we going to start some kind of downtrend And is this going to become a range? Let's find out. It's kind of interesting to see that the uptrend here was failing to come back to this main side for a while, showing that's pretty strong. It does come back, and then it fails to reach the opposite side. Just kind of interesting to see that it was really strong here and then weak here, but I guess that could be because, again, these overnight highs. Okay, so we have a short-term downtrend here that was just broken. Expecting prices to move to break a new low of that. If we get a higher low above the EMA, I'm not going to be interested because this short-term downtrend doesn't have a break a new low, and I don't want to push into these overnight highs. Even though they weren't really holding, I mean, you can see they were, overnight high here comes above, holds as support, that might become resistance. This could be a good trade here, potentially. The reason I'm not interested in that is because you still have this overarching uptrend, break a new extreme that I think is the overall bias right now, is up. Even though you might fade these overnight highs, with this uptrend in play, it's kind of too risky. Here's that higher low that I was talking about, and I'm not going to take that again because of this possible resistance level. So we'll see if it holds as resistance. I'm just waiting on something that's basically a sure thing, or trying to, at least. Okay, so we're moving up. I'd like to see, oops, went one too far. I'd like to see if this does end up reaching 1-to-1. It looks like you might get 2 legs up here before moving down for this break and new low of the short-term downtrend. That's what I'm thinking could happen. We could keep the move higher though. So maybe we'll get a failed second entry short right here to go higher, in which case I might be interested. I'm going to go ahead and put an order submitted. For that. Now that we pushed up and through this resistance level, I'm not as worried about it. Make sure Apex is working here. Yep. This is looking like a doji bar though, so it's not strong. Really what I want to see is prices tick below. So tick below this bar and then continue to push up continuously. Like, instead of like trading up and then trading down, then trading up, then trading down, then ending on their highs, just kind of by chance. I'd like to see prices tick below and then continuing to build upon itself and then ending close to the highs. That's what I want to see. But that's obviously not what you got.
Order canceled.
So these overnight highs aren't actually really doing any good. Prices aren't respecting it at all. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off. but I do want to put a possible resistance line there where you had that double top. So what I'm seeing now, uptrend gets broken with a short-term downtrend. You have two legs attempting at a new high, and we'll see if there's maybe a larger scale, two legs that form here. I'm going to take this green arrow off. Okay, so it looks like we are moving up to this break a new high. That's not really doing you any good. Haven't quite reached that yet. So now still, if you pull back to the EMA, confirming, well, this trend line's already basically confirmed with 3 touches, but if you pull back to this trend line slash the EMA, I would be interested in a setup. Will you get it? I don't know. Price is sort of struggling to reach this break a new high now. I figured they would have just gone up and done it by now. Getting congestive. I think this congestion actually shows some strength though, because prices are failing to come back down to the EMA. So they're kind of forced to work sideways. Can't go higher but can't go lower, so they're just going sideways. Let's see if this trend line holds. It might push it to the new high. Congestion here. We're sort of breaking out of that, getting pushed out of it by the possible trend line. It's continuing to hold, but it doesn't look like it's actually really strong. So if this is a pretty strong trend line, I would expect price to just kind of take off here. It might be enough to push to this break a new high, but I'd be surprised if it pushes much further than that. You never know, though. Looks like it's getting broken. If you keep it nice and tight, then there might already be a break. It's looking like there won't be any long trades for me to take, at least on this trend. So we'll have to see what happens after this. Even though there's not a break in new high yet, this is close enough that if we started trending down, that I would be willing to take some shorts. But we'd have to see a nice flip of the EMA and possibly a nice trend going on before I'd be willing to do that. Just continuing to congest. It looks like this range has expanded a little bit. Something like there. Well, maybe, or the resistance is truly here and it's attempting to hold the support, but failing to do so. And we've made a double top. So I'd say on this retest trend, there's probably a break and new high, even though it's super small and unconvincing, so we might get another push up there. It's really looking like this congestion expanded. Just a little micro range, a little triple test right here. So you can see 1, 2, 3, but I would not want to take it right into this double top right at these highs. So we have officially made that break and new high for the major uptrend. So for this uptrend, we now officially have the break and new high. Let's see if prices now start to trend down. Usually, prices don't go straight from an uptrend into a downtrend. There's generally like a sideways period between. So right now I'm expecting some kind of range, but I'm open to potentially seeing a downtrend form. Of course, there's always the possibility that the uptrend just continues. But right now, I'm thinking that the two most likely scenarios are sideways or trending down now. Just going to clean up the chart a little bit. Stuff that I don't feel like I really need on there. Interesting to note that the short-term downtrend never got to break a new low. Looks like this old resistance ended up holding a support. So whenever prices broke out here, there were probably orders left behind. So prices came back, filled all those orders, and then moved higher. So far, this is pretty clear price action. Downtrend, 2 legs up, break a new low, goes into an uptrend, break, new high, and now we're starting to trend down / correct into some sort of sideways action. This wasn't a terribly strong push through the EMA. So, I mean, I was going to say that tells me that it might be sideways, but that doesn't really tell me much at all. So if it was a strong push through the EMA, then I'd be more likely to say, okay, we're probably going to start trending down. But the fact that it wasn't doesn't tell you that it's not going to trend down. So I'm going to be watching to see if this short-term downtrend, whenever it breaks, if it's able to play out. This one was not. This one also kind of was not. It's a double bottom, I think. So a little bit of a double bottom there. I would say this is a congestive break, and then so that one's not able to play out. See, this one's not able to play out. This one's not able to play out. So I'm looking to see if this is going to be basically the first short-term downtrend that is able to play out, and that could signify to me that something has changed. Prices have really slowed down now. So I was originally planning on trading until 11, but I might hop off at like 10:30 or 10:45. Not because of how slow the price action is, but I have a meeting later and I've got to drive and get some stuff ready beforehand. Okay, that's a pretty strong move up. 10 o'clock, looks like there might be some news here. So this short-term downtrend was not able to play out. there might be something here, like a spiking channel. Let's check that out. I'd say definitely a news event here. So I'm going to stay out for a little bit until prices kind of stabilize. Cleaning up the chart a little bit. I'll leave that. I'll leave that. Okay. So this spiking channel is looking like it could be valid. It's always interesting. I'm not saying that this channel is 100% correct because I don't know yet, but it's interesting to me whenever support and resistance lines line up. So this was an old resistance line that turned into a support line that might also line up with the trend line. It's just kind of cool whenever stuff like that happens. Couldn't tell you why. Short-term uptrend gets a break and a new high, possibly overshooting this uptrend, but there is a lot of wick here, so it could possibly be anywhere between basically here and further down. If we do put it all the way to the highs, you get some nice midline play. Look at that there. So let's see what happens. I believe you've probably passed the measured move up. That's right. Let's see what prices do here. This is looking pretty strong now. Okay. Possibly a steeper spiking channel going on. Try something like that. Nope. Alright, so I'm not sure where that channel is. It's possible that we're just overshooting it. And this might even become a channel of its own. Clearly holding something up through there. If we got a two-legged pullback to the EMA, now prices are so strong, even though you already have this break and new high of this trend, I'm willing to take that. This is a lot of strength here. This could turn into a spiking channel. So this could be a spike right here, and then we could have some sort of separate channel. Something like this, possibly. But I don't really like that any more than I liked this. So possibly a break and new high, or definitely a break and new high of this trend, but it's possible that's played out. I'll have to go back and see what was really happening around this area, but it looks like this could have been a decent trade. You can see kind of a leg down and push above the EMA, but I remember I was thinking that the short could also be a good trade, so I'll have to go back whenever I study today's chart and see if there was an opportunity here. I'm a little bit unsure there. I definitely would have preferred if this failure had set up correctly. Getting some sideways action. break 2 legs up. Let's see if there's any kind of spike in channel that we could draw here. Not yet, at least. It's of course possible that we get a second leg up to this one. It's pretty far up there, but it's not out of the question. Not sure exactly how this is going to end up looking. We're continuing past, so initially I had this. I'll explain what I was thinking here. Initially I had this, and you definitely have a break and new high, but you're continuing to trade up in something that looks like a strong trend. Whenever you see these small bars that kind of look like dojis that are continuously working higher, that's a pretty strong trend. So I'm trying to think what else could be here. Like where else could there be some sort of maybe spike in channel? And it could be that. Let's see. It feels funny doing this live stream. I kind of feel like a sports commentator. I don't really mind it though. It's actually been kind of nice as far as keeping me really focused on the chart. I know yesterday I talked a little bit about this, but sometimes I'll be watching, but I'll just be completely thinking about something else. Just waiting for it. So I'm only taking trades off of the EMA. So sometimes I'll catch myself just saying, well, I'll just wait until prices get to the EMA and then I'll decide. But like you can't really do that because you really got to pay attention to how they got there and like what they were doing the entire way. It tells a whole entire story. So keep me a little bit more focused by talking about everything. And it's nice to be able to look back at the day. So yesterday there was one spot where I was thinking, oh, maybe I could take a limit order into a trade so that way I could get out before a resistance level. And having this video, I was able to go back and look and see if that was actually an opportunity, and it wasn't. So we broke my potential spike in channel here. I'm not convinced that this was correct, but prices are working up here and not coming back to the EMA, which makes me think that there's something in the way. So if we got a nice two-legged pullback to the EMA, I'm still feeling like prices are strong enough that I might take that. I'm guessing you probably won't have such luck though, and it's looking like it's just going to push up to the break a new high. Yep. So continuing, again, like I pointed out earlier, you're just getting a bunch of one legs that don't play out. One leg can't play out, one leg can't play out, one leg can't play out. This one technically plays out, but it's just kind of some sideways action. So I think this is a break new low, but it's really just kind of a double bottom in sideways action. Then you have a one that can't play out, one that can't play out. So like whenever you see that, there's obviously something stronger in the way. You know, this is a pretty strong up bias here. There's probably some kind of larger trend. Sometimes I just don't even draw them because they don't seem to help you very much, but let's go ahead and draw something here. The thing about this trend is you're skipping so much price action in the middle. So between this touch and this touch, you're skipping a lot of price action here. So I don't think that that's correct, but it could be. Could be. Maybe I'll just put this line here. Just in case prices end up playing off of that earlier or later, I don't think that I'll actually trust that to take a trade, but at least to see if we get any kind of reaction. So right now, I'm not exactly paying super close attention to what's happening, because if this spike in channel is correct, you already have a break and a new high. I suppose maybe you could get an entry, but it's just getting unclear to me here. And I don't want to take a trade if it's too unclear. Even taking something, playing the spike in channel, like if we did get a two-legged pullback to the EMA here, even that's a little bit risky because I wasn't entirely sure what's happening. But especially now, I'm not going to take anything right now. Short-term downtrend. Looks like you might get a good signal bar off the EMA, but I'm not going to take it because it's only one leg down. One leg down in such uncertain context. No, thank you. So let's see if this downtrend is able to play out. If this one's able to play out and then you get a nice pop above the EMA, I could be interested. Even though, like I keep saying, it's sort of uncertain where exactly prices are in regards to the structure. It's clear to me that there is a strong up bias right now. So if you did get a break a new low, there you go. If we got a nice pop above the EMA and a good signal bar, I'd probably take that. That was a really strong push down though. I guess some people got trapped there, most likely. So this is the first downtrend that's able to play out in a series. And that tells me that we might start moving into sort of some sideways action, or the uptrend could be sort of turning around, basically. Nothing for certain, of course. Looks like you get two legs down here. So let's see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and remove that little congestive area. I don't think it's really helping you, but I do want to see that this support is holding. Let's see if we react off of this line that I drew earlier. It looks like you might be going past the measured move just a tad. Yep. So definitely the bears are finding their footing. I want to watch a slightly larger downtrend because of the way prices are playing off this opposite side potentially. Let's see if that ends up holding at all. still continuing lower. So you're not getting that nice push above the EMA that I was kind of hoping for. Take a long. So everything might have played out to the upside. Not getting any reaction off of this line that I drew earlier. Good, remove that. Okay, prices are picking up some steam to the low side. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this in a little bit. I would be willing to take a short now. Not now, but if prices pull back to the EMA with a good setup, then I'm willing to. Want to keep in mind that you do have, let's see, there's still that. Could be something. Although I'm not convinced. Definitely far from convinced there. I'm putting this here just as a very tentative possible trend line, but I would not play this trend right now. Way too uncertain for me. Just nothing to do right now. I would still consider a possible short, but it'd have to be a really good setup. Possible sort of hidden second entry short with this little move up, sort of a break there, move up, but that's not really the setup that I'm looking for to take a short here. Looks like you get a break, moving to a new low. Definitely some congestion. Let's see if prices react off this. By this I mean this uptrend line. Double bottom. Sort of zoned out there for a second. So this little congestive area seems to be holding. It's possible we've already touched on this trend line, if it's correct. Now that we have a break and double bottom, if we got a nice push above the EMA, maybe I'll consider a trade. Let's see. Congestive area continuing to hold. Nothing to do right now. Possibly getting that push above the EMA. First break of this congestive area. So if we get a nice close above, I would consider a trade if we pull back, test the congestive area, and bounce off the EMA with a good signal bar. So a lot of things that still have to sort of line up before I'm really interested in taking a trade. Considering this is going to be a shorter trading day, would not be surprised if I don't take any trades again, but that is okay. So setting up could potentially happen. If we get a nice bearish bar here, that's what I would be looking for. And then tick below that, and then get a nice bullish bar above the EMA. Okay, things are kind of lining up here. So if we come down, test the EMA, I'd love to see prices, like I said, touch off of this congestive resistance area, but not sure if that'll happen. Not even going to put in an order until prices tick below that bar, if they tick below that bar. They might not. They might just take off, or they might just turn down, who knows. Okay, so it's looking less likely that I get the trade that I was looking for. It's alright though, it's just the way it goes. I'm going to adjust the spike and channel a little bit. Something like that could be right. So yeah, I was expecting prices to go up here, but there's no good setup. Unfortunate. Okay, if we get a nice pullback here, maybe like a little two-legged pullback, I'd still be interested. This is sort of a questionable area. Do I want to take just a higher low here? It's moved pretty far. Technically be a failed second entry. That doesn't really matter though. Kind of looks like a double bottom, so it's really just like a higher low here. Let's see if prices come back to test this area. If we come back and test this area, then get a higher low, I'd probably be all over that one. 1027, so this will probably be the last entry that I watch for, and then I'll hop off. I mean, it's a pretty interesting day, at the very least. I actually don't really mind not taking trades. I think a lot of people go a little bit like crazy if they don't take any, and I've been there. But I don't know, it doesn't really bother me that much anymore. It would bother me a whole lot less though, and not that it bothers me a lot, but it would bother me a lot less as is if I was really good at taking the right entry every time. Like if I was waiting, like I could take one entry a week, it wouldn't bother me at all. But it would be really nice if that one entry a week was like basically a surefire winner. Unfortunately, I'm not to that point yet. Possibly playing the spiking channel. Don't know if it's correct still, but it's looking pretty correct. I mean, this is a lot of touches on this side. So maybe we get a setup here. Maybe we get a little second entry long. Maybe. I want to see what the daily chart looks like. Let's pull it up here. I've got it on my other monitor here. Yeah, we had 1, 2, 3. We had like basically 4 down days. Now we got a nice uptrend going on. That makes sense. Okay, if we got a nice strong bar here, I could be interested. Of course, this one's not going to be that strong bar I'm looking for. And this one would have to tick lower in order for me to take that. It's a lot of dojis. A lot of indecision going on in this area. Is this trend line going to be valid? We will find out shortly. So we might get a second entry and then a higher low. Maybe. Really indecisive right here. This is not the nice strong push away from the trend that I would have liked to see. And it's broken. So was this trend correct? Probably not. but we'll see if we move to a break a new high. Break new low. Looks like we are moving towards the true break and new low of this downtrend now. So we're probably moving down here. So minor downtrend, gets a break with one leg. I was pointing out earlier how there are lots of one legs down that were not playing out. Now look how the tables have turned. Uptrend is not able to play out. Downtrend is probably going to play out, but at least the short-term downtrend has played out, and these shorter-term downtrends also played out. So you have to say, okay, something might be going on. Maybe we're forming some kind of larger range here. We just bounced off of this level again. You got a nice little triple test. Could be a range here. This is only a single top right now, so it's not telling you very much, but it's definitely a possibility. If we got a higher low, would I take that? I don't know. Let's see. Was this a break of this trend? Is this trend even right? Those are the questions that I'm thinking of right now. I don't have the answers to. Prices are looking very sideways though. You can see how the EMA was pointed up all throughout here for the most part. Now we're flip-flopping the EMA. This feels a lot like a range. We were not able to test these lows. Pretty strong push up. I'll be interested to see what happens as prices touch off of this level. Stay on for a few more minutes. Famous last words. Okay, we're getting a pretty strong push up here. Kind of a double top. It looks like we are probably moving into a range type scenario. I think that's where I'm going to call it. I don't see anything that I would probably want to take soon. I think that this range is going to end up being correct. I'm not sure about this major uptrend, this spike in channel 1. It looked like it was valid through here because you had so many touches. But then whenever this happens right here, I'm really uncertain. So kind of got to watch to see if you do end up getting a break and new high to confirm that, or if this is even a break because it's not super convincing. So lots of questions around this uptrend, but I'm going to end that here today. Unfortunately, a little bit early. Usually trade until 12. Like I said, I have a meeting later that I have to attend. So we'll see whomever is the one person watching on Monday.